Hey Krishna, Rinaji.
Hare Krishna.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good.
So, live stream it is happening. So then we recording will be automatic on YouTube, right?
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, it will be automatic.
So let's begin in another 2-3 minutes. Let's wait everybody to join.
Yeah. I will put Kirtan till that time. Let me know if you can hear it. Last time, so I need
Please hear.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
Can you hear?
Yes, Lalit. While it was playing, we could hear. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, we could hear it.
Okay. Amazing.
Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
So we'll start now. I think people can join us as they feel like, but we'll start. I think we always start at around 11:05, so we'll start now. I think you've always heard me saying this prayer before I start, right? Which is the Panchatattva prayer. I'll just show that to you so you can actually repeat that with me, and also tell you the meaning of the prayer. You can see my screen?
Background में mantra is on.
सामने वाला साइकिल है ना नबिया जाएगी ना उसके बाद तो मत साफ कर लेना सामने साइकिल है नबिया
Whoever is speaking, can you go on mute, please?
बत्तीस उसको मत साफ कर देना मेरे को फोटो खींचने है उसको भेजने है.
Okay, good. So I think we start with this mantra always. I'm sure you can see the screen. Right. Basically, this mantra is Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. You can repeat after me.
Jai Shri
Background में
Krishna.
mantra is on. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna wala. It's still on.
That's still on.
No, it is not. I
It's paused.
think I can't hear you.
No, I can't hear. Yeah.
I think it's paused. Do you want me to stop sharing and share again? Okay, let me try that. Is that okay now?
Yes, Lalit, there's no Hare Krishna Mahamantra right now.
Okay. So we start with this mantra always. Before we chant, last time I think I suggested to all of you that start chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Start with 108 rounds, and as my own Gurudev told me that do it for 7 days and see if you don't get the effect, then leave it, right? And I don't know how many of you started it, but if you have, then the right way to chant is first actually invoke the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Who actually gave us the Mahamantra when he came, when Krishna came in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu around 500 years ago. So we first actually pray to him so that, whatever, when we chant the Mahamantra, right, our mind is not so focused. We are not so sharp. We keep thinking of other things. Mind keeps getting deviated. So what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does is he, typically if you just chant the Mahamantra and you do mistakes, then it's not supposed to be good. So whatever, if you first invoke the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gave us the Mahamantra, then typically he protects us from everything that happens, right? So that's why we always, before we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, even when we do our daily rounds, we typically chant this shloka, right? And this is basically invoking Lord Chaitanya's blessings, so that he keeps us steady and in our bhakti and protects us from all the sins and anything that happens when we're praying and when our mind is deviating to different things, right? So this is what I always say, right? When we start Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, you can repeat after me. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Prabhu Nityananda.
Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Advait Gadadhara.
Shri Advait Gadadhara.
Shri Vasadi.
Shri Vasadi.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Right. So when we say this and then we do our daily chants, daily rounds, right? Of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you can take a counter, you can do the app on your phone, or I think the best thing is if you take if you take beads, right, and you do this. Yes. But what does it really mean? Basically, we are praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Oh Krishna, you've come in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with your associates, Lord Nityananda. So Balram Bhagwan has come as Nityananda. Then Shri Advait is basically a combination of Shiv and Vishnu. So Shri Advait, then Gadadhara, who's like Radha Rani, and Shivasadi, who's like a devotee of Krishna, and all the bhaktas, right? Gaura is again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name, Bhakta Vrinda, right? Everybody who's there. So basically, it says that when you speak this, you're basically saying Krishna is complete, because like when you speak of a king, right? The king does not mean he's alone. King is coming here. It is to be understood that the king will come with all his associates, right? He never comes alone. So wherever the king goes, his secretary, minister, commander, and so many other people goes, right? And king is never alone. And there should always be a queen also, right? And similarly, the queen's associates. Similarly, Krishna, the supreme or God, how can he be alone? He's not alone. He's always with his associates. So even when Krishna came himself in Vrindavan, he came with all his associates. He came with Radha Rani, he came with Vrindavan Dham, he came with Yamuna, he came with Giriraj Govardhan, and all his associates who came, right, in the form of Gopas and Gopis and trees and everything else, right? So similarly, whenever we pray to the Lord, we pray for the blessings of him and all his associates. And that's why we say this mantra at the start. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advait Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So this is invoking the blessings. And then we do the Maha Mantra, which is Hare Krishna. You can repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Hare Rama. Hare Rama.
Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama. Hare Hare.
So Hare is Radha Rani. So we always pray to Krishna and Radha together. So hence Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Saying, oh Radha, oh Krishna. Then, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram is also Krishna. We tell them, please give us service in your lotus feet. So that's our prayer. That's our mood when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, right? So I think just a little bit of that, and I think then we'll get into the class specifically. Let me actually open the presentation. You can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, so second chapter, I think I'll do a little bit of a recap for all of us. Okay, give me a second. You can still see the screen, right? Right. So, so second chapter, I think we spoke about saying second chapter is, the summary of the second chapter can be understood in GITA, right? G was Guru, I is identity, T is twin duties, and the last one is what we are supposed to cover today, which is Atmaram, and then we'll try and start the third chapter also today. And I think just as a summary, right, of GIT, basically, we learned that some of the few salient points that we learned was that even though Arjuna was a great warrior and a very learned personality, a very valiant fighter, very bold, courageous, confidence, even such a person in life can encounter confusion, bewilderment. Similar to Arjuna, we also face it, right? If you see what problems he faced, basically he had the bodily attachment to relatives and friends. He did not want to fight and he wanted to run away. Similarly, we also have fear, right? We don't want to let our body touched by diseases, right? For example, when COVID came, all our life was upside down. We were hiding, we were at home, we were very, very scared of what is that. And there's a small, tiny microvirus that we couldn't even see, right? And it had turned the whole world upside down, right? Overall. We're also scared to not get old. None of us like to see a white hair in our hair. I got a haircut done so that people could see less of my white hair. We don't want to see that. Nobody wants to die, right? Even when there's an insect and you try and catch that insect, even that flies away, right? Even the insect does not want to want to die, right? And there are real problems which we can't control. So old age, disease, death, etc. There's no control, right? Nobody can control what will happen. All of us have to go through this, right? Everybody has to be born, then go through life, get through old age, get diseased, and then finally die, right? It's something that's not out of our control, right? Another problem we face is is we don't want the relatives' bodies also to die, right? Father, mother, brother, sister, wife, husband, children. We want them to live forever, ever, and we should also live forever, right? So if anyone passes away or is ill, we feel pain like Arjuna felt pain. So essentially, we want to put a full stop to all this kind of suffering. And then we come to a phase where we said, what is this goal of life? Why does this world exist? Why am I here? And these two questions are answered very clearly, right? In the Bhagavad Gita, right? Why do we suffer and how do we come out of it? And then what is the purpose of life itself? Then Arjuna has to act or not to act. Overall, it's the same with us. We are always thinking, this situation has come. What should I do? Should I act? Should I not act? If I act, what way I act or what I don't act? So that's the point where Arjuna accepted. No one said that, hey, Krishna, there can be no one else who can be my spiritual master except you. And so he surrendered to Krishna. This was the first point, right, of having Krishna as a guru. All of you who've joined this Bhagavad Gita course, this sessions, right, are also, in a certain sense, are taking Krishna as a guru, right? Krishna is not only the guru of Arjuna, he's the guru of all of us who are reading this Bhagavad Gita, right? And he can put a full stop to all us, all the sufferings and get us everlasting happiness, right? And Gita is one of the most scientific books in the world. It's possibly the most commented book in the world. Although it's about like 5,000 years old, but great scientists, great writers, everybody, right from Einstein to Oppenheimer to Emerson, everybody all over the world have commented on the Bhagavad Gita, right? And by reading and by absorbing the content of the Bhagavad Gita, you are actually saying, hey, Krishna, please help me. Let me figure out the purpose of my life. Let me get over from this, from this cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. Please help me figure out how do I live a happier life? How do I get permanent happiness overall? So that was the first piece, right, of G, which is accepting a guru. The second part was about I, which is saying, who are you? In our, our body, actually, if you look at blood, stool, urine, everything is coming out. There's so many abominable things that are coming out. Are we this or are we something more? So we spoke about saying we are definitely not this. We are different from all of this. We learned about the example of the driver and the car. So the car is like the body, and there's a driver inside it, which is like our soul. We also learned about Atma and Chetna, which is consciousness. We can feel, we can think, we can contemplate. Dead body does not do that. We saw the difference between a dead body and a living body. And every living body, there's perception, there is mental activity, there's action, and that is only possible in a living body. Then we discuss about rebirth, right? And we saw how the soul leaves one body and goes to another. And we saw examples of people remembering their old lives, right? And real people in this real world overall. And we learned how the soul, after the body dies, moves from one to another. So the question you may ask is, what is the advantage of this knowledge? If the advantage is so much more, right? If people knew we are not the body, not the soul, there'd be no racism in this world. Germans and Jews will not have problems. Russia and Ukraine will not fight. Black and white will not have any problems, because realizing that all of us are souls, similar in nature, we don't have to go by this superficial bodies, knowing that we are not the controller, God is the controller, knowing that God is the owner of everything. What are we fighting for? One small piece of land, and saying, oh, this country should be mine, this area should be mine. And that's why we are fighting. Basically, this will lead to universal brotherhood by knowing we are children of the same Father, similar in nature. The next thing we discussed was about the twin duties, right? GITA. We spoke about the spiritual duty and material duty. So Krishna told Arjuna, Bhishma and other people, knowing voluntarily they are siding with adharma. When they are killed, their bodies will be gone. They will again be born, and they will reincarnate. So don't worry, but you focus on establishing dharma. Then we learned about the duties of a Kshatriya. There was one slide on that. Um, and then we spoke in details about swadharma, and we said what is the duty of a kshatriya, what is the duty of a brahmin, and we also learned that sometimes, in fact, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of the very very senior Vaishnavas, a saint, he said that sometimes brahmana can also fall down to a kshatriya level, just like Drona did, right? Drona was a brahmin, but he became a kshatriya to fight in the battle. Overall, but we also learned that everybody has to perform their duty. We spoke about then spiritual dharma or buddhi yoga. And Krishna said, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yen na mam apantite. That I give buddhi to my devotees, that they come back to me. He spoke about the glories of devotional service, right? So like that, we learned about many things. We also learned about um, karma kanda, saying by doing some activities we can go to heaven to enjoy material activities. Overall, then we learned about karma yoga, we learned about buddhi yoga, we learned about sankhya yoga and gyan yoga. Sankhya yoga and gyan yoga are the same, which is that the body and the soul knowledge, right? So, one thing that in 2.49, Krishna told to Arjuna, Dure nahi avaram karma, discard all reward seeking actions, karma from far away, Dure nahi avaram. By focusing on the intellect established in the divine knowledge, which is buddhi yoga, seek refuge in the divine knowledge. So I think that's where we ended, GIT. And now I think we're getting to the last part, which is basically Atmaram, or the concept of Sthitya Prajna, one who has perfected Buddhi Yoga. It's a very deep session, right? Because this is what we want to be eventually in our life. And second chapter, as I said, it's called Summary of the Bhagavad Gita. So it's very, very deep. It sets the base for us to understand the remaining 16 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. So in this part, Arjuna asks Krishna about, about what is a self-realized person, right? What are the characteristics of such a person who's called as Titya Prajna, one whose intelligence is fixed, right? And there are basically four questions that he asked about. He said, what are the symptoms of this person, right? Overall, how do I find such a person, right? When I see people, how do I find such a person who's a Sthitya Prajna? Then he asked, right? How does he speak when other people show affection or anger or hatred? How does he respond to them? Right. The third thing he asked was, how does he sit? It doesn't mean sitting in a physical form. It's about sitting in the world of sense objects. Does he not get attracted to them? We are all attracted by our sense objects, our tongue, eyes, taste, smell. He's asking, how does he regulate and restrain his senses? And the last thing he asks is, how does he walk? Which again doesn't mean how does he walk, but basically, is this person keeping himself aloof in the Himalayas, or does this person walk in the midst of people living in this world? In case he walks, how does he maintain his stability, and how does he not get carried away? Um, so those are some of the questions Arjuna asked, right? So basically, how do I find such a person? How does this person speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? And this is our state. This is where we want to get into our lives, right? So we'll just read the specific shloka from the Bhagavad Gita. I'll open the shloka. Give me a second. You see my screen? Right. So, 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 what are we saying? Vishaya vini vartante. You can repeat. Vishaya vini vartante.
विषया विनीव वर्तन्ते
Nirharasaya dehina.
निराहाराय देहिनां
Rasavarjam rasavarjam rasa api asya.
रसाप्यस्य
When you see this thing before the word, you can use an a. So api asya, right? Overall, param drishtva nivartante.
परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तन्ते.
So what is it saying? Right? Though the embedded soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher state, he is fixed in consciousness. Right? Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain time of eatables. Right? When people have diabetes, they want to eat more sugar. Right? So it's very, very difficult. The patient, however, never likes this restrictions nor loses his taste for eatable. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga, in the matter of yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, these are all stages of Ashtanga Yoga, is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. So, people try and artificially say, oh, I'm getting into deep meditation, I'm going in this mode of silence. But that does not really stop your sense objects. As soon as you see something, you get agitated, right? There's a famous story of Vishwakarma. How many of you know Vishwakarma story? Say yes in the chat. Just say why in the chat. Okay, so you don't know, right? So Vishwakarma was a great saint, impersonalist, right? And he was meditating on the impersonal form of the God. That means there's no spiritual form of the God, like Krishna has two hands and legs, and he plays the flute, and also there was no such form that he was meditating. He was thinking, oh, God is just light and God is just energy, and
पानी वो दूसरा ले जाओ
and he was meditating on
पानी
that.
नीचे
Hare Krishna, can you please go on
ले
mute,
रहा
please? Whoever is the administrator's iPhone? Yeah, thank you. So he was meditating in impersonal form of the God, and he was sitting there, and then Menaka came, right? And he saw Menaka, and he got fully agitated. I mean, he lost all his meditation, all his spiritual control, sense control, everything, and he got mad after Menaka. Right. And this is what happens, right? You may go to the highest form of meditation, go into silence, learn whatever kind of breathing, silence, silence, right? But you cannot control your sense objects, right? So that's what I'm saying. So spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. But one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of advancement in Krishna consciousness, no longer he has a taste for dead material things. So Vishwakarma later became a devotee of Ram because he realized what had happened. He had fully fallen down. And then when he saw this form of Lord Ram, and then he became a personalist, and he started to taste the form of the Lord and the beauty of the Lord and the pastimes of the Lord. That's when he became a personalist, and that's when he was able to become such a big saint. We all know. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one has a high taste of Krishna consciousness. When one is in actual Krishna consciousness, he automatically loses the taste for pale things. Right? It's a very interesting thing, right? Because generally, uh, you know, you know, we want to contemplate on some things, right? We can contemplate on those things, and we keep contemplating on those things, and we get attracted to those things. For example, you saw a movie poster or a movie trailer on YouTube or a Instagram, post that somebody put. You keep thinking about it, and then you want to go and watch that movie. Right? You read about politics and elections. For example, whoever is in Mumbai, Maharashtra, everybody was talking about elections, because whatever you keep contemplating on, that gets to you. So mind cannot remain without activity. It has always has to think on something. And that's the problem with impersonalists, because they are only meditating on something which is formless. After a period of time, the mind gets restless, and then all your sense objects and the senses that you've got a control on all go awry, because you see something and then you're attracted to it. And that's why when you get attracted to the Supreme Lord Krishna and his bodily form, or overall, then you're contemplating on him. And that's when you are able to replace what was mundane subjects to spiritual subjects. And that's when you're able to get control on your senses of mind. So the body also always needs a replacement. We cannot ever stop doing what we are doing, because mind always wants to do something. We are active. But when you replace it with something good, then your mind starts to think about that good, and that's why your senses start to get in control. And that's why this understanding that God has a spiritual form, a bodily form, and meditating on that form, when you go to a temple, seeing him, chanting his holy names, reading about him, like attending this Bhagavad Gita course, you start to replace your mundane sense gratification objects with spiritual sense gratification objects. And when you do that, that's the only time you can control senses. It's a very, very important subject, right? We always need replacement. We cannot stop. We need a replacement. The bad has to be replaced by good. For example, if you have kids, if kids get bad friends, what do? You cannot say don't have friends, so you try and replace with good friends. If kids get a bad habit, you have to replace it with a good habit, because they cannot stop that activity. They want something that they will keep doing. For example, if they're spending all the time on TV, you give them books. So that TV to book is a replacement of bad to good habits, right? Similarly, in our lives, when people who are addicted to smoking, right? You first give them nicotine, so that they stop that habit of having smoke, and give them something different, and then slowly they move out of it. So the replacement aspect is a very, very important aspect to understand, right? We cannot ever stop unless we replace the bad with the good, or the material with the spiritual, right? Overall, I'll go back to the presentation. Right. So basically, so Arjuna basically had some material desires of his own. He wanted to enjoy with his relatives. He was saying, if I win the battle, I want to share it with relatives. It's like us, right? Somebody said, oh, I went abroad, and I made 50 crores, and now I'm coming back. If now when you come back and no one is left in India, your parents are gone, everybody's gone, who will you share your joy with? So Arjuna was thinking exactly like that. So Krishna is saying, if you want to be self-realized, give away your material desires for sense gratification. And I think that brings us to an important piece, right? That actually there is, yeah. So there are essentially two kinds of people in this world. One is called as a bhogi, and one is called as the tyagi. And I'll explain you in the by a story. Once there was a king, right? He was going on a chariot with thousands of his people following him, in a procession. Right? He had a one big ring, worth crores of rupees, right? With a big diamond. And he threw it in the crowd. One person got it. He said, wow, such an expensive ring. No one is looking at it. Let me keep it in my pocket and run away. As he was running away, the king told his soldiers, go and arrest him, and he put him into jail. Right? Then he went little ahead again, and another direction. After a kilometer, he threw it again. Another guy saw it, and he said, it's not mine, and he just left it and went away. The king laughed, saying, oh, this guy saw it and he went away. Then again, after some distance, he threw it again. This time somebody picked up, and he saw the initials of king on it. It was a big ring. He said, it's such a big ring, it has the initials of the king. So he came through that full crowd, and he asked, my dear king, is this your ring? I found it on the road. So king pulled him with his hand and put him on his chariot. He said, you are the right kind of a person. I want to include you in the list of ministers because you've given it back. So what is this? What does this mean? The first person, right, who was put into jail is a bhogi. So all the karmis are all bhogis. People who want to just eat, sleep, drink, have sex, be merry. They never think about God. They do not do anything they want. They all, they will take all the resources from God, but never care about God. So they deserve to be punished eventually. The second kind of person, right, who saw the ring but did not do anything, just left it as it is and went away. That's the kind of person who's a jnani, right? He's a jnani, he's a tyagi, right? He leaves everything and goes to the Himalayas and saying, shut your senses and do meditation and get your own moksha, right? He doesn't care about anything else, right? And the third person is a bhakta. Bhakta is when they see everything is created by Krishna, they say, let me take it and first offer it to Krishna. All the grains that we eat, all the food that we get, all the leaves, vegetable, fruits, everything that we get, all the light, sun, light, air, wind, everything we get, they first say, let me offer it first to Krishna. So bhaktas, give away the sense gratification born of our own concoctions. They purify their mind, and they find and they find satisfaction of this of the self, right? And as I told you, right, the whole concept of Sanatana Dharma is basically doing the prescribed duty as a service to God, and that's what purifies our heart, right? So these are the general symptoms of a realized person. He gives up material desires of sanction born of mental concussion. Thus purified in the mind, one finds satisfaction in the self alone, right? Overall. And it says, to be satisfied in self alone, one should know of the Lord's love for us and our relationship with him, right? And that's a very important form. I think I gave you the example, right? And saying that how by replacing you do that, and you start to look at the spiritual form of the God, you start to contemplate on him, you do that, and that is possible, by knowing the qualities of God. You need to know the qualities of Krishna. So some people may ask, right, why should I take everything and keep it with myself? Why should I give it to God? Why shouldn't I enjoy? Because we don't know, by giving to him, you get much more. Without any botheration to him, he will give you a lot more. Just like in any good family, right? Kids worry about parents. When kids become big, they start to think, oh, my parents are old, I got to take care of them. And similarly, when children are small and they're growing up, parents keep worrying about children. But in bad families, it's completely different. Parents are always thinking of themselves, and kids are also thinking of themselves. Parents say, hey, how much are you earning? Give us some money. And the kid says, oh, how much money can I keep with ourselves? Why do they keep asking for money and money and money? Right? So I think, so bhakta means basically, how to please God. And God keeps thinking how to please bhakta. And that's like a good family, right? Where kids think about parents and parents think about kids. And similarly, when you think about Krishna, Krishna also starts to think about you, right? Like you see, right? Krishna is saying, I will drive your chariot. Let me become your charioteer. Krishna is the supreme Lord. And why would he become a charioteer? But because there's a bhakta in front of him, Krishna is saying, I'm happy to become your charioteer. So, by understanding his qualities, right, we benefit. By benefits of connecting our activities of Krishna and offering of fruits to Krishna, we benefit. And Krishna then has a special favor to his devotees, overall. And so for example, right, a parent would give a most fresh bread to his kid, right? But when he sees a beggar on the road, he may also give it, but it may not be the freshest bread. It may be one day old, but he'll still give it to them. So similarly, Krishna takes care of everybody. But when there is somebody going out of the way, thanking him, offering him gratitude, offering him love, Krishna also goes out of the way to do the special favor to this person. Right? He always has a compassionate glance on his devotees. And he takes very, very personal interest in his devotee's life, right? Overall. So by meditating about this thing, devotee very easily develops his love for God, right? So let's talk about the qualities of this. So this is a Srimate Ramanuja Acharya ka invocation, right? It says, salutations to Sri Ramanuja, the great Vaishnava teacher. This hymn is called Sri Ranga Dhyan, in praise of Lord Ranganath, right, of Sri Rangam. So the first verse it says Chit Achit Vastu Tatvanam Tatva Yathartvaya Vedine Ramunujaya Munaya Namo Mamo Gariye Se. So what does it mean? I bow to the exalted, say Ramanuja, who truly understands the real nature of both. Chit, which Chit means conscious being souls, and Achit, which is insentient matter, and the relationship with God. Right? Then we go to the main body of the sloka. This long section actually lists all the divine attributes of Lord Vishnu or Rama or Lord Ranganath. And it basically has four meanings. It says the Lord is described as nature and consciousness, the supreme consciousness, the inner soul of all beings, the ever-present, self-luminous, eternal. Second thing it talks about is power and protection. The Lord is the possessor of infinite strength, a destroyer of ignorance, sin, evil. He's a protector of all his devotees. The third quality it talks about is compassion and grace. Uh, it says, Lord is the ocean of mercy and affection, easily accessible to those who surrender, and is full of parental love towards devotees. The next quality this talks about is moral and spiritual virtues. It says, Lord is full of truthful, He's Satya, He's Shaurya, He's Dhairya, Sthairya, Jnana, and Vairagya, which is truthfulness, courage, patience, steadfastness, wisdom, and detachment. And then it talks about majesty and lordship. He's the supreme ruler of all worlds, beyond Brahma and all the gods, the supreme refuge, Sharanya. He's the place for devotional surrender, which is the key theme of this. So towards the end, it says, I take refuge in you alone. May my mind always dwell in your divine form. May my devotion never waver. And this reflects Sharanagati or total surrender, a central teaching of Sri Ramanuj Acharya. Right? And the last line he ends with saying, "May I forever remain your servant." Right? So the biggest saints, right? They also talk about saying, we should always remember the qualities of the Lord. So as I told you, the 5 or 6 qualities Ramanujacharya spoke about. But in the end, he says, I surrender. May my mind always dwell in your divine form. So you need a form, right? Whoever says God does not have form is basically cheating, right? And he says, may my devotion never waver. And that is only possible when you keep remembering, keep seeing the God, keep thinking about him, keep praying to him, keep taking his holy name, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You go to the temple, you read the scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. And then, when you keep doing that, this kind of feeling starts to develop into you, right? So these are all some of the qualities we spoke about, right? And so, what are the benefits of connecting all our activities with Lord service? So he says, mokshaye karma bandhana vimukti mam upayasyasi. So he says, as you keep doing, right, your service of your service as offering to God, you actually get purified in the heart, and then you get liberated. So this is on the right. You see Prahlad Maharaj, protector Vishnu. How many of you saw the movie Mahavatar Narsimha that came? Say yes if you saw the movie. In the chat, you can put yes. Okay, so those who've not seen the movie, I think this is like the thing you should do today. Normally I don't recommend anyone watching any movies, but this is something, if you miss something really amazing, right? I mean, just for you to know, this is the highest grossing Indian animation film ever. I think I don't know, it's made like 400, 500 crores, maybe even more, right? And this is a film which Mahavatar Narsimha, I'll write it. Right? It's about Lord Narsimdev's appearance. Vishnu appeared as Narsimdev to protect his devotee Prahlad Maharaj. Right? It's just one of the most outstanding animated movies. I think now it's on Netflix or something else, so you should watch with your family, with your kids. It's just amazing. It's very entertaining. It's been made by a ISKCON devotee based out of Delhi. He put all his life savings into making this movie. It took him many, many years to be able to do it. And as he was making the movie, a lot of producers came to him and told him, "Hey, we like what you're making, but let the dialogues be ours." And he said, no, I will completely stick by the scriptures. I will not change anything. So even the songs in these movies are actual shlokas in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Narasimhadev's story is there, right? So he stuck by it. And it took him many years to be able to get it out, because animation means you require lots and lots of money, then the promotion and everything else. And he stood by it, and finally the movie got released, and it's become like a worldwide super hit. Now, after that, you've seen Bollywood, everybody trying to make movies based on scriptures, right? So now somebody announced Ramayana, somebody announced other forms of the Lord, and so on and so forth. So, but I got debated a little bit, but it's just an amazing movie. You will love it. It's as entertaining as any movie can get. And kids would love it. Your family, you sit with all your family and watch it. It's got everything that you want. But basically, it's the story of Prahlad Maharaj. Okay, and Prahlad Maharaj is basically a 5-year-old boy, and his father is Hiranyakashipu, who's a demon. And there's a full story on background of it. I will not get into details of who is he and stuff like that. But basically, his father said, "I am God, and you need to pray to me," because he meditated for 1,000 years on Lord Brahma, and he got all the powers. And he asked for Lord Brahma that give me a power that no one can kill me, I can never die. So Lord Brahma said, even I don't have that power, but you asked me for something else. So then he asked for saying, hey, nor a human nor an animal should kill me. Nor a devta or a demon should kill me. No one should kill me in the morning or in the night. No one should kill me inside the house and outside the house. And so he tried his best to cover himself, and nobody could kill him. And so Lord Brahma gave him the boon. And while he was meditating, because he was such a big demon, Narad Muni came to know his wife was pregnant. So he actually, gave the full knowledge of the Supreme Lord to the pregnant wife, and the baby inside Prahlad was listening to this. So when he was born, he was a big devotee of Lord Vishnu, and Hiranyakashipu said that, I am the God. Who is Vishnu? Kill Vishnu. He just started destroying all Vishnu temples, and he put all his pictures and portraits and deity form and idols all over, and saying people should pray me. So people were very scared because he had so much powers, and they started to pray him. But his son, which is this 5-year-old Prahlad, would keep praying to Vishnu, right? And he would try and tell him, what are you doing? Why are you praying to Vishnu? And he would not listen. It's a beautiful movie. You should watch it. I'll not spoil the movie for you, but I'll give you a summary of it. So he tried to kill the son a lot of times. So he threw him in a pit full of snakes. He threw him in a cage full of lions. He threw him from top of a cliff. He tried to burn. If you know the story of Holika, that is Prahlad Maharaj. Holika was his sister, Hiranyakashipu's, and he put Prahlad in her lap and he tried to burn him. But instead, Holika died, and Prahlad got saved. So at every stage, this small boy was so surrendered into Lord Vishnu that Vishnu came to save him every single time, right? Overall. So that's what Krishna is saying, right? Moksha se karma bandhana vimukti mam upayasasi, right? Basically, as you keep doing everything as you're offering to God your life, you get purified in heart, and then you get liberated. And that's how Prahlad got liberated by Vishnu. At the end, of course, then Vishnu came in the form of Narasimhadev. He killed Hiranyakashipu. Beautiful. You should see that, and you should read it later as well in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The whole story of Prahlad and Vishnu Bhagwan. And he came and liberated him, right? I think the key is that, Lord Krishna is explaining that by acting in this way, right, when you're offering everything to Lord, one will be free from the bondage to work and its results. Because since it's an offering to God, you are not attached to the work, you're not attached to the results. Moksha se karma bandhane. And when you start doing that, right, you become liberated. And more than that, as you start to develop your love for Krishna, you come back to Krishna. This is Mam Upayasasi, right? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right, one who is directing all their activities to me, I do special favor to him. Like a king, I told you about the parent, the parent giving the fresh bread to the child, but a king will give special dress to the prince, but who is Janta, he will give the normal clothes. Right? Same manner, Lord Krishna says, anyone who becomes a devotee of me, he he represent he reciprocates very powerfully, right? That Krishna even protects his devotee with a special glance. It's like a mother, right? She, when she's cooking, she'll have one eye in the kitchen and one on the child. Right? She will always keep her eye on the child. If the child is, touching touching the knife or coming near the fire, the mother will protect him. Same way, when we go wrong in a wrong path or do something wrong, Krishna will guide us and he will escort us in the right path, right? Then it talks about Krishna always takes personal interest in his devotee's life. Right? I told you last time the story of Gajendra, the king of elephants. How many of you remember? Yes or no? Say yes or no in the chat if you remember. And if anybody remembers, can you tell the story? Feel free to unmute and tell the story. So nobody is remembering. No one is saying yes in the chat. Okay. So basically, Gajendra was the king of elephants. In his last life, he's Indradumna king, and because of some reason, he got the next life as an elephant and the king of the elephants. He was having fun like all of us, right? With his wife, with his friends. He was the king. He was having all merry. He would walk in the jungle with his bilkul matak matakke thing, and everybody would go crazy of him. He was all proud. There were lots of women elephants, female elephants that would be attracted to him. So he was enjoying life like all of us, and he was the king. He had all the opulences, all the grass, all the food, everything else. Till basically one day he went to take a bath in the river. And when he was taking a bath in this river, this big crocodile came and caught his leg. Now, all his wives, girlfriends, colleagues, friends, family, they kept looking, they tried to help him, but nothing could happen. Finally, they all also got out of the water. And you see in this picture, right? Overall. And and his leg is caught. He's trying to fight, and they say and he tried to fight for about 100 years or 1,000 years, something like that, right? And continuously the fight was happening. Finally, he got tired because the crocodile was in the water in his territory. So the crocodile was continuing to get stronger. This was not the territory for the elephant, and so he started to get weaker. Now, that's in his last life, he had done a lot of bhakti, right? So he remembered, I spoke about this example in the form of that you carry your bhakti ahead, right? So Gajendra remembered his bhakti, so he took a lotus that was going in the river and he offered it to Lord Vishnu. And that's when Vishnu actually came personally to take care of him. And then he cut the crocodile's neck and he liberated Gajendra, and Gajendra went back to Godhead. And this is the advantage of the path of a personalist or a devotee, right? Example, Arjuna also gets the shelter of God. Now compare this to the shelter we get in this world. In our job, it's very temporary. Tomorrow we are not performing, something happens to us, we are asked to leave. Or the company decides a strategy change, you are asked to leave. Home is also a temporary shelter because family members around us will go die. Sometimes we don't get along. Sometimes something happens. These are all temporary shelters. So the only real shelter is the shelter of God. Um, uh, right? And his guidance, his shelter always remains with us. It's permanent, right? So these are all the symptoms of a Sthita Prajna, right? Who puts God in the center of his life. He's not like saying, I have 25 other things to do and put Lord as the 26th item, right? So Lord can keep giving him something. Lord is in the center of the life and as the most important person. Last time, I think somebody asked me a question saying, hey, how do I divide my time in bhakti and my other life? It's not. If Krishna is in the life, everything is bhakti. The way you tend to your kids, the way you do your job, the way you, make food in the kitchen, the way you are managing your house, everything is Krishna. So Krishna has to be the center of your life and the most important person of your life. And then that's when you are able to you're able to get to this level of Sthita Prajna. Right? It's like we have mother and father who we care about and we love. Same way a devotee does this for Krishna. And by doing this, the devotee can rise very easily beyond the pushing and pulling of the mind. Right? So that's the first question on how do you, what are the symptoms of a Sthita Prajna, right? A self-realized man. The second question he asked was, how does he speak, right? Overall, right? Which means how does his intelligence and word respond to affection, anger, and neutrality? right? So then 2.56, 2.57, Krishna speaks about this, right? If you look at Prahlad, I told you the story of Prahlad. He was always equipoised. His father was torturing him like anything, but he was very stable and at peace. He did not consider anyone as a friend or an enemy, right? Overall, he was free from anger. He was put into fire. He was crushed under elephants. He was put in a cage of lions. He was put in a pit of snakes. He was threw from they threw him from top of the cliff. They tied him to a rock and threw him in the ocean. He never became angry with his father. In fact, when Lord Narasimha Dev came and killed Hiranyakashipu, he prayed for the liberation of his father to Hiranyakashipu. So basically, a Sthita Prajna person will, when he speaks, he will always speak in the glorification of the Lord. When he opens his mouth, Prabhupada used to say, when a person opens his mouth, you come to know the quality of the person, right? For example, a sick man, he will always do cough and, you will feel from his voice that he's sick. A rich man is recognized by the car he takes and the clothes he wears and the watch he wears, and so on and so forth, right? So the symptoms of a man of standard is the subject that he talks. So when people start talking about politics, when voting is happening, when COVID, everybody was watching more about COVID, reading more about COVID, getting more terrified. Similarly, when cricket matches are happening, people are getting mad about cricket results. For a Sthita Prajna, none of this happens, right? Because his constitutional relationship is with God, which is Sanatana Dharma. His loving relationship is God, and that is his subjects. And that is how he controls his senses, right? So there are two examples given. There's an example of a tortoise and a snake charmer, right? How many of you seen that in temples in most temples you will see there's a tortoise there? Say yes if you've seen it. Right? Anybody knows why is there a tortoise in the temple? Why did they put a tortoise in the temple? Yeah, notice next time you go, you will see a lot of temples will have a tortoise in it, right? Biggest temples will always have a tortoise in it. But anybody asked why is there a tortoise in the temple? So Rahul is saying calmness. Okay. So if you look at a tortoise, right, he's never stagnated. He's always progressing. You'll see a tortoise moving slowly, but he's always progressing. It's similar to a yogi who's always progressing towards the spiritual world. But tortoise is watchful. He sees danger. He puts his hands, legs, face, head inside and shows his back. You hit him with anything, a rod, a patthar or anything, nothing happens to him. Similarly, devotee goes into the temple, and when he is in the temple, he's jumping, he's crying, he's dancing, he's doing everything else. So he opens all his legs, arms, everything. With his eyes, he sees the Lord. With his hands, with the hands he dances. With his legs, he walks to the temple. With his tongue, he eats the prasada. He eats the prasadam, right? And basically, when he's outside in the material world, he goes inside. He doesn't get attracted to movie posters or trailers, movie trailers on Instagram or on YouTube. He or she is not attracted by, oh, the next cricket match is happening there, the next elections is happening there. He sees all of that. He says it's happening, but it doesn't affect him. He just goes inside. He doesn't think about, he doesn't get into it, right? So that's why the example of a tortoise is given, right? Because tortoise is exactly like a Sthita Prajna person, right? When he is with the Lord, he will open all his senses up, every legs, arms, everything. And when he's inside, when he's outside in the material world, he just basically covers it like a horse, right? You always put this planters on him so that he's not distracted. So similarly, Asthita Prajna is not getting distracted by everything. His focus is on Krishna. His focus is on a God. And this is how he sits and lives in this world of Maya. Similarly, the example of a snake charmer is given. So the snake is like your senses, right? And the tune that you play is like your bhakti or your remembrance to God. And we are the snake charmer. So if if we can control our senses, the only way to control our senses is with bhakti and with our devotion to God. And that's the way a snake charmer also controls the snake. Overall, there's a story of, on the right you see a picture of Haridas Thakur, right? Haridas Thakur, we all pray to Haridas Thakur as a Naam Acharya, because he would chant almost 22 hours in a day, 3 lakh names of Krishna. So he would continue chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He would chant that full day and night, and you just sleep for 1-2 hours. In that, he would eat, he would take a bath, he would do all his other duties, but he would be chanting 3 lakh names of the Lord every day. When he was young, a very, very beautiful prostitute got attracted to him. And she came one day trying to distract him. She came second day and came third day, but he did not get distracted. In fact, by the third day, she became a devotee, right? Because she started chanting the holy name, and she realized what ecstasy was there in chanting the holy name. And then, of course, Haridas Thakur, not attracted, he went away from that place, right? Because he had a higher taste, right? Which is in Krishna consciousness. So that's why Krishna is telling him, right? Let's take this sloka 2.59 from the Bhagavad Gita. Give me a second. Okay, I think let's go back to the slide. So basically, what is Krishna telling Arjuna? Saying, hey, Arjuna, right? Give up your lower taste because you've got a higher taste, right? And I spoke about this tortoise and all. Give me a second, guys. Just a second. My daughter is just coming. Right. So then I think the third question is asking is how does he sit, right? Which is basically, how does he restrain his senses and mentality? So if you look at this, right, there's a photo of Govinda's restaurant, right? When you go to Govinda's, you basically eat Krishna Prasadam. And when you keep getting the habit of eating offered food, you always want to eat what is offered, right? And you're not attracted by other food, right? For example, for me right now, I've got used to eating food which is without onion, garlic, vegetarian food. I don't get attracted by any other food, right? So similarly, when you start getting a higher taste, you are very happy with the higher taste. You are not attracted by any such lower taste. I told you about the story of Vishwakarma also, right? Earlier on Menaka and how he give, right? So this whole concept of replacing with a higher taste is a very important concept. I spoke about it. Overall. If you don't get the higher taste, it's very difficult to basically replace things, right? Overall. What is next? Yeah. So similarly, I think what Krishna is telling, excuse me, administrator's iPhone, can you go on mute, please?
ये नहीं चिपकेगा क्या?
तो क्या मालूम कैसे होंगे?
इनसे चिपकाओ, ये रहा है इसका।
Hare Krishna, administrator's
हाँ,
iPhone.
इसमें चिपका दो, ये
Admin,
वाले
can you
में
put her
लगा
on
के
mute?
चिपका दो।
Okay. So then
ये क्या है?
that's what Krishna is saying, right?
हाँ?
Hare Krishna. Reena ji,
यही
can you
लेके
put
आया क्या?
administrator's iPhone on mute, please? Okay. So then Krishna is basically saying that, higher taste is by following the Lord's instruction. Then your taste for, other things start to go, right? Overall. So he's saying similarly, Drona and Bhishma are perishable bodies, right? But in front of Arjuna is Krishna's body, imperishable, beauty, everlasting. Because loving relationship with Krishna is everlasting, overall, by connecting with Krishna, he will be able to tolerate all the perishable bodies, falling. Right? And so again, he's making the point, sense control is only possible by devotion to Lord Krishna. Tani sarvani samyapta yukta asita matpara vasihi yase indriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. We should actually go to this sloka. It's a very nice sloka, 2.6.1. You can repeat this after me. Right? It's a very important sloka. Tani sarvani samyamya
Tani sarvani
Tani sarvani samyamya
yukta asita matpara
yukta asita matpara
matpara
yasya indriyani
vasehi yase indriyani
tasya prajna pratisthita.
tasya pragya pratishtita.
The one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. So Krishna is saying this is the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness, is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not possible for you to control the senses. I cited above the great sage Durvasa Mani picked up a coral. So there's another story of Maharaj Ambarisa. I'll quickly talk about the story. Maharaj Ambarisa was a very, very good king, right? And he had fasted for many days with his family. Durvasa Mani was a very, very big Muni, but used to get very angry fast. Came to his house. So when he came, he said, "Okay, I will go take a quick bath." And that's the time king was about. It was Ekadashi was ending, and he was about to break his fast. So he wait. So Durvasa Mani said, "Oh wait, I'm just coming. I'll take a bath." Now the king said, "If my there's a pranaya time of breaking Ekadashi fast." So the time was about to get over. He said, "Okay, I will not eat anything. Let me just drink water till Durvasa Muni comes. I'll take one sip of water so that at least my fasting is completed because it's important to break the Ekadashi fast." Now when Durvasa Muni came back, right, he realized the king had drank water, so he became very angry with the king, and he cursed him badly, and he cursed him very badly. Right now, when Krishna saw that he's cursing a devotee who's kept fast for so long, and Durvasa Muni basically became angry because of pride, and therefore he could not check his senses.
इसको इधर किनारे में धूप में रख दो, यहाँ पर धूप आ रहा है ना, वहाँ
Hare
पर रख दो।
Krishna.
इधर धूप नहीं आ रहा है। हेलो,
see, whoever is actually attending the class, right? The only way you will have advantage is if your full focus is on this. So, if you keep doing other things along with the class, I don't think you will get an advantage. You can actually just hear a YouTube video, and if you want to do other things, right? You can cook, you can wash your clothes, you can do everything else. But if you're attending the class, please give it full focus because that's when you will have an advantage. You can keep doing other things and listen to the class on the side. It will not give you any benefits. Then it's better you just play a YouTube video and hear whatever you can in the time, and otherwise it's okay, right? That's my only request to you, right? When you're in it, please be fully focused in the class because then you distract not just me, but everybody else on this as well. Neither are you benefiting and others are also getting disturbed. So my humble request to please focus on the class and don't do anything while when you're attending the class, right? Where was I? Yeah. So then Durvasa Muni basically cursed him, and then Vishnu saw that, and Vishnu got very angry. So he threw his Sudarshan Chakra to punish Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni kept running. So he went to Brahma. Brahma said, "I can't stop it." Then he went to Shiva. Shiva said, "I can't stop it. It's Vishnu's thing. You have to go to Vishnu." So finally he went to Vishnu and I said, Vishnu, please forgive me, please forgive me. Vishnu said, I can't forgive you. You go and ask forgiveness from Maharaj Amrisa himself. Right? Because only when anybody troubles my devotee, I do not forgive that person. So only if my devotee decides to forgive you, I will forgive you. Of course, then he went to Maharaj Amrisa, and Maharaj Amrisa basically forgive him, and he said, no, you are my, you are like, you are the highest, yogi for me, Muni for me. You please come and sit on my throne. And he took very good care of him, in spite of Durvasa Muni cursing him and wanting to kill him. Right? Right? So that's what I'm saying. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful of a yogi as the sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sages' injustice and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualifications as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll not read it, but basically it says, King Amrisa fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flower of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him, his legs in traveling to holy places where his temple is situated, his head in offering obeisances to the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a Matpara, devotee of the Lord. So you look at it, right? Every single sense is basically being used for God, right? Hands in cleaning, ears in hearing, eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, the body in touching the body of a devotee and serving the devotee. His nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the Lord. His tongue in tasting the tulsi leaves offered to the Lord. His legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated. His head in offering obeisances. And his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. When you do that, these qualifications made him fit, right, to become a pure devotee. So the word Matpara here is more significant, right? How can one become Matpara is described in the life of Maharaj Amrisa. Another great Vaishnava saint, Shri Baldev Vidyabhushan, he remarks, Mad Bhakti Prabhavena Sarve Indriya Vijaya Purvaka Swatma Drishti Su Labheti Bhavaha. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. Right? Sometimes the example of fire is also given as the blazing fire burns everything within a room. Lord Vishnu seated in the heart of the yogi burns up all kinds of impurities. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation on Vishnu and not meditation in the void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than Vishnu form simply waste their time in vain after some phantasmagoria. We have to be Krishna consciousness, devoted to the personality of God. This is the aim of real yoga. Right? I'll go back to the slides. I'm sorry, I'm not taking a break. I want to just finish this part and see if we can start chapter 3 because chapter 2, of course, is amazing and it's very long. We can keep talking about it. Unless you guys want a break. If you want a break, we can stop. If you guys think you want a break, just say yes and we can take a 5 minutes break. Anybody wants a 5-minute break? Okay, we'll continue. Okay. Right. So this was a very important verse where Arjuna asked him how to get the higher taste, and Krishna told him take to devotional activities and hence you control your minds and senses. There's another nice story from Mahabharata that I can tell you about. Right, this is the story of Bakasura. Bakasura was a demon, and he would basically go to a village, every day, and he would pick one person from each family in the village. And they would go with all the food and he would eat the person and the food up. When the Pandavas were passing through the village and staying at someone's house, that day, one member of their family was supposed to go and he will never come back, right? So Yudhishthira actually asked Bhima to go help the family. So Bhima said, okay, I will go today. So what Bhima did, he took all the food with him and went to the forest. He sat under the tree in the forest and started eating the food. So when Bakasura came, Bhima gave him a punch under his chest. So Bakasura fell far away. Then by the time Bakasura came, Bhima again was eating food. And again he punched him. And again he fell far away. So again and again Bakasura kept coming and Bhima would punch him. Right? The more Bhima ate, the more punches the other guy got. Right? Similarly, controlling our mind and senses is like giving a punch, and eating is like, devotional activities in Krishna consciousness, right? The more we get absorbed in Krishna consciousness, the more we are able to give punch, to our mind and senses and control it. So what does it really mean, right? It means that we should spend our time in chanting the holy name, reading the Bhagavad Gita, eat food that is offered as prasadam to the Lord. As much chances as we get, see the deity form of the Lord. If you have deities at home, very good. If not, go to the temple with your family. Start with going once a week overall, and then meet and make friends with other devotees, right? Basically, do Krishna conscious activities, because that will give you that will give you nourishment, right? And that's the only way you can control your mind and senses. Mind will not run here and there, right? So somebody may have a question, right? We have to take our mind away from sense objects, right? But if one has not developed a higher stage, what will happen? If I'm not focused on devotional activities, if one is still impure, still is not fully developed devotional taste, what will happen? So this again, I think I told this story of Ajamila last time, right? Quickly I'll cover. So he's a Brahmin. He saw this prostitute hugging a man in the forest. Then he started contemplating upon that, and he could not control his senses. And then he then he fell down. So Krishna's talking about how do you fall down as well, right? Overall. So how does it really work? And I briefly spoke about it, right? What happens is that when you start contemplating the objects of the senses, right, you develop attachment, right? Overall. So Ajamila saw the prostitute and the man. So he started contemplating on the prostitute, and he started developing attachment to the prostitute. As he started to develop attachment to the prostitute, he developed lust, right? And that lust, when it got unfulfilled, anger arises. So he started to do all abdominal activities. Then finally he got married to the prostitute, and he was in complete delusion. His memory of all his bhakti, everything that he done in the earlier life got bewildered. His intelligence got lost, and he fell down in the material world. Similar to us, right? We see something on YouTube. We keep contemplating about it. We get attachment to it. We get lusty to get that thing. If we can't afford it, we can't buy it, we can't get it, we get anger and frustrated. And that's when we get into delusion. Our memory gets bewildered, our intelligence is lost, and we fall down, right? So it's you think about anything in life, right? That you contemplated on. This is what essentially happens to you, right? So this is for all of us to take a clue on, right? All of us, we contemplate on Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp. You keep walking on the road, you keep thinking. So contemplation is the first step. Now, how do you replace it? If you contemplate on the deity form of the Lord, you develop attachment for the deity form of the Lord. You contemplate on the Bhagavad Gita knowledge, you will develop attachment for the Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Whatever you contemplate on, you get attachment. And so if you get attached to the Bhagavad Gita, you keep reading about it. When you start reading about it, you start absorbing it. And then, you have an adamant desire to proceed in that direction. Right? And this is the same formula for good and bad. The decision in our life is what do we contemplate on, and it all starts with that. Everything happens with that. So either you can fall down or you can rise up. If you focus on the good, you rise up. If you focus on the bad, you fall down, right? So basically what it's saying, senses are naturally active. They need real engagement either in service of the Lord or in materialism. Only way to get out of the material puzzle is Krishna consciousness. Negative example influence us. Even powerful gods like Lord Shiva was agitated by Parvati, and Kartikeya was born out of that agitation, right? Positive examples, Haridas Thakur I spoke about, right? And there's another example of Yamunachara. All overcome sensual attractions by the power of Krishna consciousness. The secret of success in sense control is that higher taste shuns off all material enjoyment, and then you develop what is called as Yukta Vairagya. Use everything in service of the Lord. For example, right? We have a phone, right? We have Instagram. We can keep using Instagram to watch other things, or we can follow devotees. We will develop more love for God. But we keep seeing other things, we'll start getting attracted to that. You have a phone, you can watch YouTube videos on everything to do with God, Krishna consciousness, watch movies like I told you about the movie of Mahavatar Narasimha. Watch those kind of movies rather than watch any other kind of movies, right? You will automatically start getting that attraction towards the Lord. When you get to that stage where you start enjoying everything to do with the Lord, like today, you're attending the Bhagavad Gita, right? You could have watched a Netflix movie, you could have done anything else. As you keep doing it, you start getting more attracted to it, right? And this is basically what is called as positive enjoyment, right? It's like eating food offered to prasad, offered to Lord becomes prasadam, and then there is no danger of fall down because the philosophy of yukta vairagya, right? Any dry renunciation, which is what is called as falgu vairagya, which is basically not on the deity form of the Lord or not on the on the Lord, causes fall down because not on the form of the Lord. You know, I told you about the story of the rishi, right, who got attracted by Menaka and leads to fall down due to lack of positive enjoyment, right? So this is a very, very important principle. You have to start replacing things with good things, and that's the only way you're able to you're able to control things, right? So the last question that he asked was about how does he walk, right? Which is basically from 2.64 to 2.71. Right. So far, Krishna has explained the dangers of a certain sense objects and how a Sthita Prajna controls himself from being distracted by them. Now he says that this is not a fault to accept the sense objects if it is done by the control senses without undue attachment to the mind. For example, I'm using this laptop right now to do a Bhagavad Gita class. I can very well use the laptop to do other sense things, to play a video game, to watch a movie, to read something nonsensical. I can do that. But when I use the same laptop, right, for Krishna consciousness, even the using of the laptop gets purified. You will see lots of, brahmacharis and sannyasis now using the laptop. They are not using the laptop to do other things. They're using the laptop in the service of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada, when he traveled all over the world in flights, he was not collecting frequent flyer points. He was using even an aeroplane in the service of the Lord. Earlier days they used to write books. Srila Prabhupada was writing everything on a typewriter. He was using even a material thing like a typewriter for the service of the Lord, right? Sometimes as Prabhupada, more and more people came to know Prabhupada, they would get Prabhupada fancy cars, like Rolls Royce, and also Swami Pandey, a reporter asked him, "Oh, आप तो साधु हो, आप Rolls Royce में क्यों घूम रहे हो overall?" He said, I'm a devotee of the Lord, and when they're doing this, they're basically showing service to the Lord. This is not being used for me to go to cinemas or do anything else. I'm going from temple to temple. And people, when they get attracted to a saint who's coming in a Rolls Royce, they know that's an important saint. So I'm using it in Krishna's service, right? So even things like mundane things, right? If you use it in the service of the Lord, you don't have attachment to it. Prabhupada would still go and stay in a simple house when he was developing a place called New Vrindavan in West Virginia in the US. There was nothing. He used to live under a tree. In fact, it was one of the famous pictures of Srila Prabhupada, which a lot of us pray to, is basically under a tree. He didn't have anything else. So he was not attached to the cars. He was not attached to the plane. He was in the stage of Yukta Vairagya, right? So that's what this is saying, right? Overall. So basically, what Krishna is saying, we should follow all the scriptural regulations while accepting sense objection, while accepting sense objects. And there's a prescription he's given, right? Krishna says that connect everything to me, like putting iron rod into a fire. Then the iron rod will not be a normal iron fire; it will become like coal, right? There's a nice story of even Dhruva Maharaj. I'll just put that for you actually. So again, Dhruva Maharaj was a 5-year-old boy, and he was the son of a king. The king had 2 wives, so he was the son of one of the elder wives, and there was a younger wife who had another son. So when Dhruv Maharaj wanted to go and sit in his father's lap, the younger wife told him, Suruchi told him, hey, get off the lap. Next life, when you take birth from my womb, will you be able to sit on the king's lap? And then so Dhruv Maharaj got very upset and he went to his mother, and his mother said that, now the king likes that wife, so I can't do anything. Why don't you pray to Vishnu? So he went to the forest and he prayed to Lord Vishnu. Narad Muni came and became his guru. And this is his prayer, right? So Dhruv Maharaj is saying a full prayer, right? It says, Dhruva Vacha Ya Anta Pravishyamam Vacham Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevanayati Akhila Sakti Dhara Swadharma Swadhamna Anyamascha Hastacharana Shravana Twag Adin Pranan Namo Bhagavate Purushasya Tubhyam. So what is he saying? He says when Vishnu came and he touched him with his conch shell, he said, my dear Lord, you are all powerful. So till now, his whole wish on his meditation while he was in the jungle, he performed meditation for 6 months. Literally, he would breathe at the end of the stage. He would breathe once in like 1 year or something, in 1 month or something like that. Right? But when Vishnu came to him, finally said, "Oh, you are so powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch, sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances to you." So he says that मेरा पूरा अभी तक जो मैं meditation, chanting, जो भी मैं I was doing all the stuff that I was doing. I was doing basically as hatred towards Suruchi, and I wanted to become the king of the world, bigger than the king my father is. But as soon as you've touched me, I don't want anything else. I just want your bhakti, right? So it's a very important one, right? All of us start with praying to God because we want something material, right? When we start to develop that love for God, all these material desires finish, because then we only want that love for the Supreme Lord, right? The deck again. Right. Right. So Krishna is saying, right, that there's no happiness or peace without connecting to the Supreme. So this is the Dhruv Maharaj and Vishnu ka story I spoke about. And when the result of achieving the Lord's mercy is complete satisfaction of senses and consciousness, threefold miseries exist no longer. Intelligence is soon well established. Right. Yeah. So I think. Yeah, I think this is mainly it. It says that person who has given up all desires for sense satisfaction, who lives free from desires, who has given up all the sense of proprietorship, is devoid of false ego. He alone can attain real peace. All petty pleasures will be gone. Impure, pleasures will be gone. And without any desires, he will head towards God. He gives up the sense of proprietorship. He understands that God is the owner of everything, including me. And will never he or she never has false egos, he's like Hanuman, right, who only wanted to serve Lord, and thus a person achieves higher, greater peace. And such a heart is like an ocean. Rivers can keep going in and out of the ocean, but the ocean remains unaffected, right? So that's when he speaks about a Gyani Gyani, right? He says when Gyani becomes a devotee, he's most fortunate. Otherwise, at most, he can be liberated. So the difference between liberation and going back to Godhead is different. So liberation means we want to be in the effulgence of the God, and saying Krishna hai, Krishna ka effulgence as that light, we want to be one with the light. But when he becomes a devotee, he personally gets connected to God. Like Arjuna did, like Yashoda Maya, and so on and so forth. There's a very interesting concept here of what does it mean to be connected with Lord Krishna. And if you want, you can note down. It's something I really like, right? Which basically says that there are 7 rasas in which you can connect with Krishna. So there is one rasa called Santa Rasa, which is peaceful reverence. It talks about quiet adoration and awe. So devotee sees Krishna as the supreme God. There's no active service, but he contemplates on the God. So the sages and the yogis meditating on Krishna are in this mode of Santa Rasa. Then there is Dasya Rasa, which is servitude, where we know that Krishna is the master, the devotee is a servant, and we are in this mood of obedience and service. So Hanuman, for example, towards Rama was in Dasya Rasa, right? All the servants of Krishna in Dwarka was in Dasya Rasa. Bhishma Dev, right? He was fighting on the enemy side, basically as a service to the Lord, right? So that the Lord could teach people, right? Then the third kind of rasa is Sakya Rasa, which is friendship, where you treat Krishna as an intimate friend, equality and affection. For example, Sudama or all the cowherd boys of Vrindavan, right? So you basically make Krishna a friend. Then there is Vatsalya Rasa, which is parental love. You treat Krishna as one's child. You're protective, you have nurturing love. For example, Mother Jashoda, Nand Maharaj, were all in the mode of Vatsalya Rasa, right? Then there is, Karuna Rasa or compassion, where you feel Krishna's mercy and suffering for separation, right? This is what you experience in Vira or separation. Vira or separation. So Lord Chaitanya came to show us this, and this is very common in bhajans and poetries of saints. It will always talk about separation from the Lord. And the last one is an Adbhut Rasa or a wonder rasa, which is astonishment at Lord's divine acts. So, when you hear about Krishna's leelas, like lifting Govardhan or his Vishwaroop, which he talks about, which he shows to Arjuna as part of the Bhagavad Gita, it's seen in Arjuna's amazement in the Gita. So you could be Krishna's the only one who you can be in any rasa, and you can love him in any rasa, right? You can be in any of the rasa. So you can be in Santa Rasa, Dasya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Karuna Rasa, Adbhut Rasa, or highest form of rasa is basically Madhurya Rasa or Shringhar Rasa, which is the conjugal love the gopis had for Krishna, which is a romantic, intimate devotion, which is the highest form of rasa, right? Radharani, the gopis of Vrindavan, all of them are in this highest form of rasa, which is Madhurya Rasa, where they're ready to leave their families, their husbands, their kids, their in-laws, their houses, just to be with Krishna, right? In fact, the gopis, there's a very nice prayer of the gopis. The gopis are even cursing their eyelids and saying, oh creator, why have you made my eyelids go up and down? Why for that one microsecond also Krishna is in front of me and I can't see them. I can't see him. So that's the highest form of rasa. And this is the most amazing thing about Krishna, right? You can love him in any form. So if you have, I think Rahul or somebody asked me that we have Chota Krishna at our house. Treat him like a kid. You develop your relationship with kid as a kid. Lots of women want to get married to Krishna. You Vrindavan, you will see all crazy stories. There are marriages happening where girls are getting married to Krishna. So that is, Madhurya Rasa. Of course, it has to be more real. It should not be artificial. But typically, you can develop any kind of love to Krishna and he accepts you in any form. You can think of him as God. You can think of him as a lover. You can think of him as a child. You can think of him as a friend. You can develop that relationship. If you go to Braj, nobody treats him as God. In Vrindavan, everybody treats him as a friend or as saying you are Radha Rani's lover. They don't even treat him as saying, "Do Radha ke paas ja, mere paas mat ta." That's how they will talk. You speak to a Brajvasi, it's so amazing. They just treat him like one more family member. They say, "Tu Radha ke paas ja." Barsana mein to they treat him like, "Tu nikal yahan se." Right? That's how they talk to him even now. That's how they talk to Krishna and so on and so forth. So it's amazing, right? You can develop any kind of rasa with Krishna. And when I found this mind blowing, right? And typically God is always revered, you're always praying, but it's saying no, you can fall in love with Krishna in any such form. Overall, one important thing you should understand, right? That why is Krishna telling this to Arjuna? Arjuna is an illusion. So we should not think that Arjuna is an illusion, because the Lord sometimes puts his devotees in a certain role to teach to the world. Krishna is actually chastising Arjuna. He's saying impotent. In the first chapter you heard about, he's calling him coward. He talked about Aryam and Anaryam. Imagine Krishna would tell this to us. He's saying, boss, you're important. First thing we'll do is we throw the Bhagavad Gita and run away. Right? He's saying, you're stupid. You don't know your body and a soul. We would all run away. So Krishna is making Arjuna come in this Arjuna do this for us. It's like a mother-in-law, right? When she gets a new daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law does not know how to manage household work. For example, she would not know how to serve guests. So what does she do? she basically tells her daughter, you go and serve. And when, because she doesn't want to fight with the daughter-in-law, because she's just come into the house. If she starts scolding, the daughter-in-law will get upset. So what she does, she tells her daughter, you go and serve. And then she scolds her daughter. ठीक से खाना क्यों नहीं दिया, सब्जी ऐसे डालो, दही ऐसे डालो, ये why haven't you served rightly, why haven't you got the nice bowls, why haven't you got the nice spoons, why is there not a good serving tray and all of the pieces. But basically she is doing to teach her daughter-in-law, but instead of the daughter-in-law she's scolding the daughter. So Arjuna is like the daughter, where Krishna is like the mother-in-law. Krishna is scolding Arjuna, and we are the daughter-in-law. So in turn, we are getting to learn the whole knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, right? So I think this is mainly it. Yeah, I spoke about senses are always urgence of satisfaction, and therefore, restraint nahi kar sakte. Yeah. So I think, and basically then Krishna says, one who is situated in this form at the time of death enters the kingdom of God. And thus Krishna glorifies the position of a Siddha Prajna, that that is the way of spiritual and godly life. After attaining this, one is not bewildered. So we learned about the process of fall down. We learned that artificial depression does not help. You have to replace it. Overall, we heard the story of Vishwamitra Muni. We say that one cannot enjoy life because in that form, overall, and there's no peace because if you don't have relationship with Krishna. And then of course Krishna gave the example of a yogi and a devotee, the Durvasa Muni versus Amrish Maharaj's story, right? So this is basically it on the chapter 2. I think it's a huge chapter, but a very, very important one. Overall. I can now either take a break and begin chapter 3, or we can finish the class early and then we start chapter. In fact, we'll finish the class early and go to chapter 3 next time because it's already 12:40. But let's pause. Let's see if you have any thoughts, any questions, and we can talk about that. Go ahead, Sudipta.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Lalit, thank you so much. I think the last 2 classes have really changed my, the outlook, the perception of everything. Thank you very much for that. However, Lalit, I have a question. I mean, we all are in a normal, non-ideal world, right? Krishna consciousness and all of that is very good. It is very uplifting, very empowering. But we live in a world where people around us are not belonging to the same, whatever you want to call it, group or things like that. There are varied types of people. And when you are trying to do your own practice in whichever way, whether you through work or chanting or anything, right? There are so many difficulties that you face, right? So, and then it becomes like it becomes very difficult for you to stay motivated. I'm sorry, I might be asking a very rudimentary question, but this happens, right? So how do you keep yourself motivated? When is the right time to tell people that, enough is enough and let me continue with my practice? You do whatever you want to do. All these things, the external pressures and all. How do you handle that? Because we are going to stay in this world. We are not going to stay in an ashram. At least not for now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one thing, at least, when I was early in this, and I asked the same question to my guru, and he said that, you can try to tell others about Krishna. You can put as much effort as you do. You can try to change others. But at some stage, you have to learn that you are alone. You are your own soul, right? And the souls that you are in with now, right, will never be the same souls you will be in the next life. In fact, this whole concept of Saat Janam ka Saath is all bullshit, right? There's no Saat Janam ka Saath. Basically, you are with somebody this life, you may be with other people in the next life. Finally, you are on your own, right? So the key is to try your best, right? Do your best to tell others, but if others are not coming in your way, focus on your own individual journey, right? So that's one aspect of it. Now, how do you keep your own journey alive, right? In fact, it's very good, right? We are speaking about this, right? There's a concept my guru talks about, which is about A, B, C, D, E, right? I didn't think I covered this in an earlier class, but I think I just briefly spoke about it. So you can note it down, and I can write in the chat for you. So the way to keep going is this concept of A, B, C, D, E. A is for association, right? B is for Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavata. C is for chanting. D is for devotional diet. And E is engaging in seva, right? So what does it mean, right? So for us to keep our motivation and Krishna consciousness going, right, we need association of other devotees because they are living a life similar to us. Everybody goes through this. So whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's anybody else, how many people in our office or around our building, around our house, everybody is Krishna conscious. Not everybody, right? You hardly meet anybody, right? Very, very few, right? Like one in like maybe thousands, right? So the only way to do it is look for people who are going through the same journey. So that association becomes an important part, right? For example, all of us now in this group, right? You can start your own pieces, right? I'm in Delhi. There are other people in Delhi. You can keep meeting such people. You go to a temple more often. You will find more friends. Look at Krishna conscious communities or activities that may be happening around your own house. Start meeting those kind of people. So get the right association, right? Take your family members once in a while. They may enjoy, not enjoy it. It's okay. But people will start, at least, you will start having other people who you can talk to. The second thing is your practice of reading the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Make it a practice that every day you will at least read one page from the scriptures. Just one page. It takes you like 5 minutes, right? If you keep reading it, you are keeping connecting to God. You keep hearing his stories. You keep hearing his teachings. So that keeps you connected and motivated again. C is chanting. Never miss your chanting, right? So which means that whatever rounds you've decided, one round, which is 108 times of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or whatever number of rounds you are able to manage in a day, right? Don't worry about other goals, right? Start, at least get steady, right? Ensure that you do every day, whether you're doing at home, whether you are in the car, whether you are, doing while you're cooking something, whatever, right? Ensure that one round of chanting is done. Ideally, do it when you're not doing anything else. But if you can't, then do something at least, right? Overall. Fourth is, D is devotional diet. Try and offer whatever food you make, right, to the Lord and eat that as prasadam overall, right? If you can't make everything because the family wants other things, make a small piece, offer it to Krishna and eat that, right? You can make a mithai, you can make, a kheer, you can make a gajar ka halwa in this season, you can make anything. If you can't make the whole food devotional, make that small element. And you see just as a small element how people in your life start changing, right? I have a very good example. There's very, very senior devotee I was talking to, and he's a very, very senior sannyasi now. And he was talking about his sister. His sister's in London, and husband, he used to eat non-veg, used to do everything else. And the sister was a devotee. And she became a devotee, right, later. So now she was finding it very difficult to get her husband to do anything with her, right, which is devotional in nature. So what she started to do was she started to cook food at home because that food is one she was in control, and she would try and put all food as prasadam. She did it for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years. Suddenly life started to change. The husband started to become more happy, started to support her in more Krishna conscious, started to assist her. And now, of course, he also does 16 rounds and stuff. But you basically small things, just Krishna's prasadam has so much power, right? Even Prabhupada's example, when Prabhupada went to the West, they were hippies, drug addicts. He would just do prasadam for them every day. He would cook like for prasadam for 50 people every day. Druggies would come and have prasadam, and just by eating prasadam, they became devotees, right? So the fourth thing is eating prasadam, because what goes out in your body basically develops your consciousness, right? Overall. So that's that's D. And the last piece is engaging in service, right? Serving could be as small as donating some part of the money every month in Krishna service. Service could be going to the temple and doing some physical seva. If you don't have time, just give money, right? That's the easiest piece. Serving could be telling more people about Krishna consciousness. There could be many times service could be book distribution. Could be any service, whatever your time and energy permits, right? You don't have to be ideal in any of this. All this A B, C, D, E, start with just taking micro steps. And then you see how things start to change for you. Look for, so just remember this ABCD. I've written it in chat, right? Association, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, reading every day, chanting every day, devotional diet, and E. I've said 3, it should be E, engaging in seva. So try with this ABCD, and you see how all such things start to come into place. Your motivation continues to remain. You'll see people changing around you, small micro steps, right? And you'll be able to see, how everything starts to come together for you, right? And all of us have gone through it, right? We all are not, at such a higher stage of spirituality or self-liberation stage, right? We are just doing baby steps, and by baby steps we move forward. That's why the tortoise is also another good example. He or she, he's just taking baby steps. He moves so slowly, but he's moving forward. It doesn't matter. As I said, even if a life finishes, if you've done 20% of bhakti, we started with 21%, right? But we don't lose it. So take those small mini steps. That's it. You don't need to say, oh, I will do 3 hours, 4 hours of my whole piece. No, do small pieces. As environment becomes more conducive, you can start doing more. Till the environment is not conducive, start doing small steps. But do this A, B, C, D, E almost every day. You will see how life changes around you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, so I think seems like either the session was too heavy or we don't have any more questions. But glad, I think this is the second chapter is a very, very important chapter. I love it. This last part of Chitta Prajna, I think I went very, very long, 1.5 hours on it. You could finish it very fast, but it's such an important one. This whole concept of replacement, I think I found it mind blowing. This whole concept of different relationships that you can have with Krishna, I found it mind blowing overall. And centering everything on Krishna, I think some of those things, at least I thought were very, very important and something I can relate to a lot in my journey. So I spent so much time on it. Though I wanted to start chapter 3 today, but I think we couldn't. But it's good, I think, because this is just amazing, right? This sets your fundamentals so right, the second chapter, then absorption of the remaining chapters becomes very easy for you. So the third chapter is Karma Yoga, which is what we will cover in the next class, which is basically the question everybody is asking, how do we connect our work to Krishna? And Krishna goes into details about that in the next chapter. I think now we will do it in the week after this, right? Which is basically the week of I think first of Feb. Okay. So yeah, I think my just request is that you have some time. You have 2 weeks now. Please, if you still haven't got the Bhagavad Gita, please get it. I'm telling you, you can hear from me, but you can also forget it. This ABCD principle, just see if you can follow it. Association is just joining for this right now. Or Seva is also about attending a lecture, by the way. So the E is also about just taking 1 hour because you're giving your time to Krishna. If you don't hear me, hear anybody else, whoever you connect with. 1 lecture, 1 hour every day, that is also seva. So you can even do that. So try do this ABCD. See if you can finish reading the chapter till chapter 2, introduction from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 1 and chapter 2 over the next 2 weeks before we come back. I think I can guarantee you it will be life-changing. Start that chanting every day if you can, 108 times. And I said, as my guru said, 7 days, if you don't enjoy it, leave it. Right? Start with the Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Maha Mantra. I can put it in the WhatsApp group. And then 108 times Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And see how you start benefiting from the Bhagavad Gita, right? A lot of people ask, oh, Bhagavad Gita sun to li, lekin isko life mein kaise la? This is the way to do it. Start chanting, start reading the book, try and do the ABCD. You will see how Bhagavad Gita comes in your life and starts changing life for you and for things around you. Right. That's my only sincere request. I don't get anything out of this. And I only want that you benefit out of this, and you get more connected to Krishna, and you're able to, change your life, move to a stage of this happiness, internal happiness that we're talking about. And yeah, I think that's what we'll end the class with, right? If no more questions or no more comments, then we can just say the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and end the class. Reena ji, you wanted to say something? Okay, so we'll just say the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and end the class. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Have a great week, Sunday, and then a week ahead. See you next week.
Thank you. Thank you, Lalit.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.